them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
Filling in for Rick Ballou and Hacker on this Monday. Welcome back to another edition of Open Gym here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. RJ Saunders here with you. JJ LaSelva here with me as well. We are so glad that you guys are with us, and we got a pretty exciting show lined up for you guys today. And as always, we'd love for you to be a part of it. A couple ways you can do so, either on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010 is the number, or on our various digital studios, whether that be on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. The NBA Finals are upon us. The Jacksonville Jaguars finishing up OTAs before they get in the mini camp next week. Just a lot to talk about here in the 904. And speaking of the Jags, I will start with this because we all know certain times, right, and certain circumstances, certain instances which are critical in our lives. You may be in school right now, and it's critical that you get this essay turned in to turnitin.com before 11:59, before that deadline. Or you have a job, and you need to get the deadline done. Maybe get a little bit of extra help on it. It's the same thing in sports, right? We probably see this summer as a critical one if you're looking in the realm of the NBA with a guy like Anthony Edwards, and you're probably saying that he needs to spend his time this summer learning how to play out of the post, a la Kobe Bryant, a la Michael Jordan, and how they eventually learned how to, and that made them become better players, the Hall of Fame type players that we know and love today. This summer may also be critical for a team like the LA Lakers. You have Luka Doncic. You acquired him via trade, but he plays at his best when he has lob threats, right? That's something that the Lakers need to be able to figure out and be able to identify and acquire this summer if they have any chance of moving further in the playoffs in the first round exit in which we saw. Since the last time we talked, when it comes to Trevor Lawrence, I wanted to ask you just how critical is this season for one Trevor Lawrence? How critical is this training camp process, the OTA process, the mini camp process, this summer process for Trevor Lawrence? How critical is it in your opinion? Now, we have spoken about whether or not the criticism has been fair to a guy such as Trevor Lawrence since he's entered the league. I'm of the process of saying yes and no. Eventually, you do have to show what kind of talent you are, but he has had a mixed bag of goods since entering the league and being drafted by our Jacksonville Jaguars. I've also talked about who's under more pressure coming into this season, Trevor Lawrence or that of Liam Coen. If you look at a guy like Liam Coen, you're being asked to fix Trevor Lawrence, who the team just paid him $275 million. He's going to be here for a while, so he has to work. But I've even said that a guy such as Travis Hunter is one that's going to relieve Trevor Lawrence of a lot of things that maybe Trevor Lawrence doesn't like to do in terms of being that face that's always out there in the media, needing to be that outspoken kind of guy. Maybe a Travis Hunter with his skill set and his talent, and also what he's able to do off the field, will be able to take some of that spotlight and attention away from a guy like Trevor to where he can focus on some things in which maybe he wants to focus on when it comes to the football field. But for the teams and as well as the fans here in Jacksonville, whether you want him to be the quarterback moving forward, whether you don't want him to be, whether you could honestly care less, this year I feel is big for one Trevor Lawrence. Now, for those of you who think he's going to be just fine, Rick Ballou has agreed with you that he feels that this guy is going to be just fine. It's been 3 months since he's last thrown a football due to the surgery that he had on his shoulder. So the second time around, before media was able to see the team at OTAs today, there was a lot of great talk that the team looked a lot better. Trevor Lawrence also looking a lot better since the first practice that the media was able to see. And that's, for me, what I honestly like to hear, especially the fact that Trevor Lawrence was so great in the red zone portion of practice, which is something that I do feel he needs to improve upon if the Jacksonville Jaguars look to have any chance of being better this coming season. Here was Coach Liam Coen after practice talking about how his signal caller did in those opportunities in the red zone today.
He's actually done a really nice job in the red zone, really looking back to the first time that we did it last Friday when we did it. I think he made some quick decisions. You know, everything is sped up in the red area. When the timing, the rhythm, the space, it's all tighter, it's all sped up. I thought he's done a nice job with his footwork in the red zone, understanding that concept. And ultimately, like, good teams in the red zone are able to run the football into the end zone. And it's hard to do that in this setting. So a lot of it is kind of geared towards practicing the pass game, the timing, the rhythm, the protections, understanding when zero blitz is coming versus drop 8. So those are the things we're getting work at, and I think he's done a nice job of executing in that area so far.
Now, let me talk to those who are of the contrarian opinion for a moment, who feel that we've probably seen enough of Trevor Lawrence. He is who he is. We heard that he threw a few interceptions the first time the media was there at OTAs. How can we expect anything different from this guy? We probably should be looking for a new quarterback, to which was argued by one Chris Sims as well as Mike Florio. For me, honestly, I'm taking that with a high grain of salt just due to the fact of what we've heard guys such as Tony Baselli and Liam Coen say, but allow me to read this for you. The one thing we don't know is whether or not Liam Coen is truly a Trevor Lawrence guy. This is from Mike Florio as well as Chris Sims. There's a reason why the Jaguars' job was open, and it's not because Trevor Lawrence is playing like Aaron Rodgers. Now, that kind of teeters on what Herm Edwards said the last time that I filled in for Rick Ballou and Hacker. When we had Herm Edwards on the program, he was saying, listen, I think there's going to have to come a point in time when it's with Trevor Lawrence. Is it the coaching problem or is it you? We've changed coaches. We've changed schemes. We've changed personnel. Why is it that Trevor Lawrence in big moments can't deliver? So I can see the argument with some individuals. I've seen some even on the text line say, with a guy who has the winning percentage that he has, and it almost felt as if it were promised that we were getting a can't-miss generational talent, and CBS comes out with a graphic pairing Trevor Lawrence side by side to Daniel Jones in their first 60 starts. Ouch. Nearly identical, the same numbers. There's just a lot of asterisks. There's a lot of variables. But the numbers are the numbers. He has to be better. He's had a lot of head-scratching plays. He's had a lot of plays where you're asking, how could he miss that? And if I'm to take my eye test, and you're to take your eye test, Chris Sims says they need to get this guy fixed. This is why you entered in Liam Coen. Because I agree with a guy like Chris Sims. 2024 was not good. Quote, there's way too many plays and times and games where you're just too good to miss that throw or to make that play right there, right then. And there were too many moments last year that were a hair concerning for someone as awesome as he can be. I believe he's right, but I'm also of the mindset that Trevor Lawrence understands how much better he needs to be. Tony Baselli was also on SiriusXM radio, and he talked about the fact that Trevor Lawrence understands what's in front of him, understands that he needs to improve, and there's also an understanding between he as well as the coaching staff that he's not satisfied with where he's at currently and wants to get better. Here's the Jacksonville.
Number one, we want to make sure we surround Trevor Lawrence with a good run game, good offensive line, and get better around him. I mean, everyone talks about Trevor Lawrence, that he needs to get better, he needs to improve, and obviously he's still a guy at the early part of his career that wants to be better, is a competitor, that is doing the work he has put in, not only in the rehabbing to get his body back to where he wants to do after the offseason shoulder surgery, but also installing a new system. This is the third system that he'll have been in 5 years. And so he's putting the work in, but we also want to get better around him. And then at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence is a competitor. He's not satisfied where he's at. And so he needs to continue to ascend and continue to improve. And as a team, we need to, if we want to reach the goals that we've set. So my expectation of Trevor Lawrence is just to continue to compete, continue to work, and just become who we know he is and what's inside of him.
Now, this is a guy that we saw how awesome he was in college. Comes in as a freshman at Clemson. I'm here to kick ass, chew bubblegum. I'm all out of bubblegum. That's the type of season he had his freshman year. And we just want to see that here, right? I can hear you, the Jacksonville Jaguar fan. That's what you want to see here in Jacksonville, what we saw at Clemson. Dabo Swinney says you're not far off when it comes to that of Trevor Lawrence. When he was here at the ACC meetings talking to the guys of XL Primetime, he said, we can see it, but Trevor Lawrence can't do it all by himself. Here's Coach.
He's passionate about doing the work, which is really what it takes. He's just an incredibly grounded guy. He's a great teammate. I always say he looks like Hollywood, but he's the most un-Hollywood guy you'll ever meet. He's just a very genuine, low-maintenance dude that just loves to do the work. And, man, is he gifted. But he can't do it by himself.
Right.
And, and then they got another guy that, if they'll just give Travis Etienne the ball enough, he'll make something happen. I think they've put some good pieces. Obviously, Travis Hunter, wow. That's going to be fun. What an amazing young talent he is coming in there. And sounds like, again, they're getting the offensive line where it needs to be.
So aside from 2022, right, we're just having a conversation here. Aside from 2022, we haven't really seen a kick-ass season from Trevor Lawrence. But we've always said there's a myriad of reasons. The coaching staff, the offensive line, injuries to major weapons. Trevor Lawrence himself has been injured. Scheme just not right. Team was ignoring Peterson. That's why we have Liam Coen here, because the team checked out. There was, quote, a lot of quit. If you remember Andre Sisco post-game after a Jaguars loss, he said, I saw a lot of quit out there. So although I agree with what Coach Dabo Swinney is saying, he is only one man. At the same time, he's also the most important guy, right? Not everyone's a two-way player on that squad. So Eric Armstead talking about Britton Strange is going to be a top 5 tight end. Sheesh! This year? Jaguar fans and media members are saying this year is going to be huge for Brian Thomas Jr. I agree. Travis Hunter, I saw on Pro Football Focus, he's going to thrive in Liam Cohen's offense as a receiver. You know what we haven't heard yet? Trevor Lawrence is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. Trevor's going to have a year that's going to put the conversation to rest that he's what he was supposed to be advertised as. The golden-haired king. So, with Britton Strange, the prediction Eric Armstead has that he's going to take the next step, the hype that's around Brian Thomas Jr. as well as De'Ami Brown this season, Travis Hunter's coming in, and, we're treating him like the president here in Jacksonville. This man can't even breathe without saying, yeah, Travis, you're my man. You're the guy. Doesn't it feel like a lot of this is contingent upon whether or not Trevor Lawrence is able to take the next step? This is the same thing, like I said at the top, that we're asking about a guy like Anthony Edwards, a guy like we're asking for Luka Doncic. So that's why I'm talking about there's pressure on Liam Coen. And Liam has already said we're going to build this whole thing around Trevor Lawrence. So if you give him the run game, so if you give him the clean pocket, because you finally fixed the O-line, then he can't make overthrows. Not as often as we've seen. Can he make the screen pass effectively? Can this team move the ball down the field with Trevor Lawrence leading it all? I don't think we can ask him to be Patrick Mahomes. I don't think we can ask him to be Lamar Jackson. I said this a few shows ago. Listen, when Vince Carter came into the league, a lot of individuals thought that Vince was going to be the heir apparent to that of Michael Jordan. Now, a lot of that was probably unfair because you're looking at, a guy with a bald head. He's going to North Carolina, and he flies through the air with the greatest of ease. That's the new Mike. Now, he wasn't Mike. He didn't live up to that. But he did have a Hall of Fame career. I don't know if you now need to be asking Trevor Lawrence to be that guy in terms of Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. But can he be Trevor Lawrence? A guy that can step up in big situations when you have everything going right or not even 100% perfect around him. And you're giving him the right scheme. He has the O-line. The defense is doing what they're able to do. And Trevor Lawrence is able to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. I think that will be very satisfactory for Jacksonville Jaguar fans here this coming season. But as it was titled on the hunt, time will tell. But what I do know and what I do understand, and which I feel a lot of you understand as well, is that this has to work now because you paid him. Liam Coen, even if he wanted his own guy, let's just run with it what Florio said. Let's just say he wanted his own guy. You gave Trevor Lawrence a little bit too much money, the pass regime. This has to work out now. Hopefully it does, because I'm certainly pulling for him, because Jacksonville feels so much different when we're winning. And JJ and I on Sundays are happy in here instead of talking about another Jacksonville Jaguar loss. 641-1010, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours. When we come back, let's continue talking about Trevor Lawrence, but let's talk about it with a guy who played the position. He also won a Super Bowl playing the position and being the captain of the ship for the New York Giants. Phil Simms joins us next right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Even more Jaguars. Listen to the Tommy Mac podcast with Tom McManus and Campo and Joe with Dave Campo and Joe C. Find these original podcasts at 1010XL.com or on Twitter at 1010XL.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. Where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit Bowdeneye.com for a free screening. Bowden & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's showroom home theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Friends, we have a very special guest on the line.
The Checkmate Coatings phone line is where the action happens.
Where's the phone? Over there.
Get expert interviews and listener opinions all day, every day, from the drill all the way to Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do it yourself. Dirt attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand-new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's all hoops. Open gym on 1010XL.
Little Jaguars talk to start off the night, filling in for Rick Ballou and the Hacker. RJ Saunders here with you on a little show we like to call Open Gym. The 554 on the text line says that Trevor Lawrence has similar stats to Luck's first 4 years, but the eye test tells a different story. Now, JJ's been having a great conversation back and forth. Luck did have 40 touchdowns in his third season. Trevor Lawrence has been a guy. Let me read off the stats for you. I have them here. In comparison to Daniel Jones, 69 TDs versus 46 interceptions. Daniel Jones, 62 and 42. I'm not saying that CBS is essentially calling this guy Daniel Jones, but I think there's a lot that is left to be desired when you see a side-by-side, and that's a side-by-side you're giving with a guy that was the number 1 overall pick, and he was the promised son. He was going to be the guy that was going to lead Jacksonville in less time than it's taken now to greener pastures. But here we are, and we're still talking about a lot of things. We're talking about mechanics. We've heard Liam Coen talk about how Trevor Lawrence is going to work on some things concerning his footwork. Had here on the digital channels on YouTube, in college, Trevor Lawrence was the best athlete on the field. He can't rely on that in the pros because he's not the best athlete on the field anymore. This is where you have to put in off-season work if you're Trevor Lawrence. And I enjoyed seeing the fact that Trevor, De'Ami Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, at least putting in a couple of extra moments of work, even after practice had broke out. I enjoyed hearing that. I enjoyed seeing that. I believe Jamal St. Cyr was the individual who was able to capture just a couple of those moments. I think this is honestly going to be needed. And you hear from a guy such as Liam Coen who says, listen, the tape is never going to lie. Right? That's what he continues to say. If Trevor Lawrence is willing to accept that, hey, you haven't been the guy as of yet, not the guy consistently, we're going to work this out to where you can be the guy here in Jacksonville. Don't worry about trying to be the individual that you were promoted and advertised to be when you first got in the league. We still believe you can be a very good quarterback here. How can we get that there? And I feel there's going to be an open dialogue, and there probably has been an open dialogue between the two. But there are a lot of individuals who have wrote him off. Should have waited another year before you gave him that big contract. Let's see what he would have done in a contract year. Tony Baselli has said all the time, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy. So whether or not you believe in him, that building believes in him. The front office believes in him. And I don't think that they feel they're that far off from winning and winning big. And let's start small here. Can you win the division once again? The Houston Texans are a team that has regressed. The offensive line, they are now trying to airlift a brand new offensive line with Cam Robinson also being a part of it, which I feel is going to be very, very interesting to see as to what they do. But C.J. Stroud is going to be coming back this season, and I do feel he wants to silence a lot of the individuals who think that the entire team has taken a step back. They've reloaded. They've retooled. Do we know what Indianapolis is? Can anybody tell me? 641-1010? Can anybody tell me what Indianapolis is as a team? Are they seriously a threat? The Tennessee Titans, are they a threat? So this is a two-team race. You mean to tell me if you're Trevor Lawrence, if you play a full season, you're a clean bill of health. The way this schedule looks right now, I believe the over-under is about 7 games. I think 9 games wins the division. You can't win 9 games, in my opinion, because there's going to be a team that I feel takes a major step back. Can you steal 2 games at least in your first 5? Could you steal a game? You've heard it talked about here on the Superstation that this Jacksonville Jaguar team is going to be playing a Cincinnati team who starts slow to begin the year. And when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, I understand that you paid Brock Purdy, but I don't know who you are. This isn't the team that was scary going to the Super Bowl. They don't pack a punch to me, at least when it comes to being that kind of a product. Right? But with Liam Coen now saying that he is going to steer this ship in the way that it should go, he's going to be calling the play. So we're not going to have to question who's calling them. He also seems to be a coach who cares. But at the same time, we're also in May. We're in June. There's no pads on. But I do believe that we are going to be hanging on every post that we see from a media member, whether 1010XL or anywhere else around this city that's able to see the Jacksonville Jaguars during OTAs, during minicamp. We're going to be hanging on every word. Did Trevor Lawrence throw an interception? How does Trevor Lawrence look in red zone? How does Trevor Lawrence look when it comes to getting the ball downfield to a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., to a guy like De'Ami Brown, to a guy like Travis Hunter? How does he look? This is a big year for him. There is a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. I've never wanted anybody to get my words misconstrued when I say that I honestly do feel that there is more pressure on Liam Coen to fix a guy who he hasn't been around for an entire season yet. But yet you are asking him to be the guy who's going to fix Trevor Lawrence because we saw the success rate that you had with a guy such as Baker Mayfield. Can you now do that here? That's a tall ask. Because some of us do sit in front of our TVs and it's, it's final chance for Jacksonville to tie the score or just ice the game. Got to get a couple first downs here. We're looking at the TV. Let's see what he's going to do, man. Let's see what he's going to. Man. But that contingency plan has always been there. We've been able to make not excuses, but say there's been a lot that's gone around Trevor Lawrence. From the offensive line, bad coaching staffs, although I don't feel that Doug Peterson was this horrible coach, but to use a Joe Coward line, I do believe that there was probably some wanna get away. That Southwest Airlines commercial, I believe there was probably some of that there with them. Although, there are some individuals that believe that Doug Peterson didn't get enough time here. Doesn't honestly matter anymore. He's no longer here. Let's see what Trevor Lawrence is able to do. I'm pulling for him. I know there's a lot of you out there that don the teal and black, wear your Trevor Lawrence jerseys, and say, we're riding with him too. But I do believe that we do have a fan base that's split down the middle. And even the ones who are pulling for him, I think there's probably some that are on the rocks. What is it going to take for you, whether you are on the rocks or you're completely off of the bandwagon? What is Trevor Lawrence going to have to do this year, even numbers-wise, for you to say he's taking a step in the right direction? ESPN, when it comes to their projections, saying this guy will throw for 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, I don't believe that gets that done this year. A 3,000-yard quarterback. And they have him playing 15 games this year. I don't know if that's enough. But at the same time, I can't ask Trevor Lawrence to be a guy that's going to win the Super Bowl for this team. Just year one. If they do, baby, the parties that we're probably going to see around Jacksonville. Give us a solid year this year, Trevor. That's what we're asking for. 641-1010 if you want to continue the conversation on our text line, or you can hit us up on one of our digital platforms, either YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. When we come back, is the parity in the NBA a good thing? And could this help the Orlando Magic? We'll discuss it next right here on Open Gym.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report Put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracts. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through June 30th. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
Believe in the unbelievable.
Unbelievable!
1010XL.
I can't believe it! I can't believe it!
We're hearing is believing.
Unbelievable! Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Pickett here with a game winner. It's Checkmate Coatings. I've scouted them all. And this Jacksonville crew's the real deal.
I'm Brendan, owner of Checkmate Coatings. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision.
Score big at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use, depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. I also go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Hacker here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Look, the summer has arrived. Memorial Day is in the rearview mirror. It's vacation season for me, and over the next couple of weeks, whether it's a cruise, going out to Las Vegas, I'm going to bust out the tank tops, man. I'm going to show off the bod a little bit. Now, would I have done that 100 pounds ago? Of course not, but thanks to the great folks at Awaken 180 Weight Loss, I really have a new lease on life. It's life-changing. I'm in the maintenance program now, doing really well, right? The weight is not coming back on. That's almost as rewarding, if not a little more rewarding. It's one thing to lose the weight. It's something else to keep it off. I've been able to do that with the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. If it's time in your life to make that change like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home this week at the newly renovated ViStar Ballpark. Tomorrow is Canines and Crustaceans Dog Day presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, followed by Wear It Home Wednesday t-shirt giveaway. Then it's Pride Night presented by ViStar and River City Pride on Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Don't miss fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
What is 1010XL's Jeff Prosser's favorite movie? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Believe it or not, Jeff Prosser's favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. You're courtside on Open Gym on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, it is the Open Gym. Glad you guys are here with us. RJ Saunders and JJ La Silva here with you as we take you into the night, filling in for Rick Ballou as well.
Is it the Open Gym or Open Gym?
It's Open Gym.
Do we even know?
I don't know.
Sounds like you don't know.
You know
I
what?
just thought it was Open Gym.
It is Open Gym.
Okay. The gym is open.
The gym is open, though. You can take your shots on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010 on one of our digital studios here on social media, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter is where you can find us. So the NBA Finals are set. We're going to have a first-time NBA champion. And despite people talking about the ratings and they're going to take a big dip, just due to the fact that you don't have a big market team like a LA, a Boston, a New York in this year's NBA Finals, I'm of the contrarian opinion that I do believe this is going to be a fun series. And I do like the storylines in which we're going to have here between both the Oklahoma City Thunder as well as the Indiana Pacers. But there has been something on my mind that I cannot shake. And I do want to ask you, the listener, whether you are a casual fan or a diehard, is the parity in which we are seeing in the NBA good or bad in terms of your interest? And do you think that this does well for the NBA in terms of their brand? Now, for me, I will say that it is different. Because for a league that has been so dynasty-driven in its nature, this season we are going to have our 7th NBA champion. No team has been that dominant to go back-to-back. It's been over 2 decades since we've seen a team three-peat. This is certainly new ground for the association. And I think what it's expressing to the fans, fan bases, maybe even also players, that you don't have to be in these big markets in order for you to be successful. Shaquille O'Neal was just talking on a show, and he talked about, because Giannis Antetokounmpo is a guy who could possibly be looking for a new home should he say that he wants to leave Milwaukee publicly, that social media is now the market. You no longer have to be in LA, New York, Philadelphia. I mean, heck, not even South Beach in order for you to grow your brand. Shaq said this isn't the 90s anymore. That's how the Lakers were able to draw him in, because he did want to do movies such as Kazam. But he wanted to be an actor. He also wanted to get into the rap game. Jerry West, Mitch Kupchak and company were able to draw him in that way. It's no longer that kind of a party in the NBA with the advent of social media. Now, the team that I do feel has the best chance of being our next dynasty is the team that we're going to see in the NBA Finals, starting on Thursday, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a team that took a chance on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a trade from the Clippers, and they're reaping the rewards of it. NBA MVP, I think he'll probably have a couple more before his career is all said and done. Western Conference Playoffs MVP. You have his 2 running mates in Jalen Williams, as well as Chet Holmgren. You have young pieces around them. I think this team, average age is about 25. They're going to be together for a long time. And, to top it off, if they win the NBA Finals this year, they have not one, but 2 first-round draft picks in this year's upcoming NBA draft. And Sam Presti has been a guy that's been able to identify and acquire talent on multiple occasions. We saw it with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, as well as Serge Ibaka. And he was able to honestly get through that weird Westbrook MVP year. Then you bring in Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. And now he's retooled this entire thing where we could honestly be looking at a dynasty here in the NBA if everybody in Oklahoma City plays their cards right. This probably gives hope to other teams in the NBA. All of them, if we're to be honest. And one person it is giving hope to is that of Paolo Banchero. Here's the Magic star talking about the parity we're seeing in the NBA and what that could potentially mean for the young guns in Central Florida.
Don't know how excited I am just seeing, all these new teams on the conference finals, definitely going to have a new champion this year. And so it just, excites you because, that could be us. Obviously, it's not going to be easy and it takes, a lot of things to go right. But, seeing all these teams get there, all these young players lead their teams, it definitely gets me excited.
Now, for many of you that are driving in the car, whether you're a diehard NBA fan, a casual fan, or just absolutely love the Orlando Magic as a ball club, as we now talk about them here more and more on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, probably a long shot for the Orlando Magic to win the NBA Finals in, let's say, a year or two. Last time they were there, 2009. This season alone, they had a lot of issues. This was a team that couldn't shoot league average from distance. KCP wasn't as great as maybe you thought he was going to be his first year in Orlando. Not saying that the signing was not needed, but he couldn't be your darling of free agency this past summer. So, like Trevor Lawrence, as we talked about at the top, this offseason is going to be critical for that of the Orlando Magic. And I think the hope is probably, let's get back to being a top 3, top 4 seed in the East again. And then let's take our chances in the playoffs. And we can worry about finals talk later. But if you're GM Jeff Weltman and company, hey, man, listen, I get it. Because they're probably looking at OKC and what they were able to do, and you want to follow that same blueprint. You have the youth, and you don't want vets to get in the way of that. That's something Liam Coen talked about with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We want the young guys to be able to develop, take this accelerated learning course of the NFL, and get better. We don't want to put vets in their way to where that becomes an issue down the line. But in my opinion, the East is going to be wide open. Cleveland, I don't know what they're going to be. Cleveland's already talking about, at least some reports are saying, individuals like Darius Garland and Jared Allen are going to be available for trade. Let's say they are able to trade both. I don't know what pieces you're going to be able to get back for them. But is Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell all you need in order for you to be the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference yet again? Let's see also what happens in Boston. Jason Tatum, you're going to have to at least believe that this is going to be a year and a half of an injury. Even with the advancement of medicine, I don't think Jason Tatum's going to come back year 1 and be Jason Tatum again. So that's going to take time. The Indiana Pacers are going to be in the mix. Let's see what happens with the Knicks. You're already off the Karl Anthony Towns bandwagon? What? You want to trade for KD? The Orlando Magic, I believe at full strength, can be one of the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. Heck, for quite a while, even with the oblique injury to Paolo Banchero, they were a top 3, top 4 seed. Eventually, they started bottoming out. And that's what I give to a guy like Jeff Weltman when he said, well, listen, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero, I think, played a grand total of 6 games together last season. So he doesn't want to make major overhauls. And heck, when we saw Paolo Banchero before the oblique injury and even after, he was playing MVP type basketball. My thing is, you need to put pieces around Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs. And you got to play shooting around him. I think that's where it's going to start. You need to find veteran 3 and D wings to give some sort of relief to your playmakers in Paolo and Franz. Not to say that Tristan da Silva can't play and can't play meaningful minutes. Not to say Caleb Houston can't play meaningful minutes. I'm sure that Jeff Weltman is in love with Jet Howard, so I'm not saying that Jet Howard can't come in for a spell every now and then. But those can't be the guys. You put basically paint over paint when you needed to put a fresh coat on. So you just put new paint over old paint and said, well, let's just re-sign Gary Harris. Let's make KCP the guy in which we bring in. And then let's let the young guys continue to develop. It's not going to work. Not this time. So shooting help is definitely going to be one thing. I've always said a guy like Luke Kennard would probably be a good get for the Orlando Magic in terms of getting another just spot-up three-point shooter. I also think that you need to get more of a classic point guard. The idea of Jalen Suggs being a point guard, I think that is done. Jalen is a 2, in my opinion. He can handle the ball some, but he's not a true point guard. Now, I did like what Corey Joseph was able to do in spurts. But if there are options out there, like, let's say, Tyus Jones in free agency, could you have him walk away from Phoenix? Would you be willing to give a solid deal to Dennis Schroeder? Because, I mean, my assumption is he'll want to go back to Detroit. But I believe for the right price, maybe he'll consider going elsewhere. Would the Orlando Magic be one of those teams that would have interest in him? Are you going to make a trade? Do you trade the 16th overall pick for a guy like Anthony Simons? I don't know what the asking price is for a LaMelo Ball. I believe that's big game hunting. Trae Young, big game hunting. Now, I am seeing on Magic Twitter the Chris Paul talk, and I do believe that having that veteran piece was something that Orlando missed last year. Joe Ingles, to me, was a guy, he couldn't do a lot on the floor, but he was able to relay the message from Jamal Mosley to Paolo Banchero, to Franz, and to Jalen Suggs. And I think a guy like that is critical. I also believe that a guy like Chris Paul in this NBA, he's able to play with young talent. Now, I do understand he is 40 years old. You may want a younger piece. But maybe he can be a guy that can help this young group. And then finally, you need off-the-bench scoring. Who is going to be the individual that is your Vinnie Johnson, your Lonnie Walker III, your Malik Monk? Because right now you don't have it. Maybe many of you are screaming Cole Anthony. Can you do better? Now, that's going to be the question. Can you do better than Cole Anthony? And where are you going to get that guy from? Is it Walter Clayton Jr.? If Hacker runs up and down these hallways saying that Walter Clayton Jr. needs to don an Orlando Magic uniform. There's maybe a lot of Gator fans out here that believe the same thing. Now, he is on the small side. I think he's, 6'1", 6'2"? But is he that guy that you're saying off the bench would be that much of a flamethrower? And that's something that the Orlando Magic need. He is that can't-miss piece for them. All I'm saying is there's options this offseason for Orlando. And if they do this correctly, and Jeff Weltman gets off of his titanium tuchus and gets on the phone and picks this team up, understanding what he has in Paolo Banchero, understanding what he has in Franz Wagner, understanding what he has in Jalen Suggs, if you can put the right pieces around him, I think this is an Orlando Magic team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm not saying they make the Eastern Conference Finals year one, but can they make it to the second round in a wide open East? I believe so. But what Jeff Weltman has to understand at this point, you do have your long-term pieces, a la OKC. You now need to get winning pieces around your long-term pieces. Because I don't know if Orlando is honestly that far away, especially now as we are seeing the parity in the NBA, as we're going to have now our 7th NBA champion once this season does commence. When we do come back, let's continue talking about the NBA and the finals. Do want to get insight from a guy who played in the NBA finals and won it back in 2002 with the LA Lakers. Samaki Walker is going to join us right here on Open Gym.
Teach your birdies to sing with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Launch the downloads.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
And initiate sequence.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Attention North Florida, it's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker. And it's not just poker. With delicious food, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone. Visit BestBetJax.com to learn more. That's BestBetJax.com. And ante up for fun.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Hey folks, Frank Frangie here, reminding you the 4th annual Daly's Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic is right around the corner. We sure appreciate our friends at Daly's, always making it possible, and appreciate so many of you who have played over the years. Well, this year, we're back at Deer Creek Country Club Monday, June 9th at 9 a.m. with tons of prizes, auction items, and an awful lot of fun. You'll even meet some of our young walk-off players. Just go to walkoffcharities.com for more information. Can't wait to see you on June 9th at the Daly's Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. and rare barrel aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch? From lunch to late night, only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Stick around after the sunset, and Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Come on, somebody.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands. Wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beard's now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beard's can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol. Beard's Diamonds at St. John's Town Center.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Our next guest is an NBA champion, was a top 10 pick in the 1996 NBA draft, and he is a Lakers legend. And with that, I am so honored, and we are honored here in Jacksonville that we are being joined by Samaki Walker. He's here to drop gems on us about the NBA and also take us behind the curtain of just what goes into those final days before game one of the NBA Finals. So first of all, Mr. Walker, thank you so much for giving us a couple moments. How are you?
All is well, RJ, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and glad to have you on once again. So I wanted to ask you first off, I'm a diehard Los Angeles Lakers fan, and, you know, Kings fans can cry to their mama about it, but how many times have you heard people trying to give you grief about the shot that you hit to end that half in the series against the Sacramento Kings? They try to say that shouldn't have counted.
Well, you know how intense that series was. And,
yeah.
It was one of those historic games for the NBA in general.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I mean, they actually, you know, petitioned to the NBA,
right?
Kings fans did, basically, and so it was one of those things where, you know, it comes with the territory, right. You know, man. And was it still in my hand? Possibly so, but at that time, you didn't have instant replay and those things. And it also just highlights where the game has progressed and things of that nature as well. When you talk about the current state of where the game is. But, absolutely. Yeah, the fans are a little salty, man. And they were, I mean, nobody expected. You consider at halftime what we were down, close to 15 points, right. Maybe more. And then nobody expected for us to do what we did the second half. And then, obviously, with Robert Horry, you know, ending it all, beautiful. You know, in spectacular fashion.
Yes.
And so that made that shot, you know, even worse. I'm sure it made that Robert Horry shot really sting.
Absolutely. But Sacramento Kings fans, in my opinion, as a Lakers fan, continue to cry as we are the 3-time NBA champions when we finished it off in 2002, as we continue our conversation with Samaki Walker. So we are in the NBA Finals, and I'm sure that for cities such as Oklahoma City as well as Indiana, this is amazing for them in terms of how they feel. But take us behind the curtain of the team and the players. I mean, you were a part of a Lakers team that was on a quest to three-peat. You defeat the Sacramento Kings. You're ready to face the New Jersey Nets. Just kind of what are the emotions like as a player and a team going into a series that's for all the marbles?
Well, unlike, the situation I walked in, the Lakers were already 2-time champions. And so the foundation was set. And I think if it was any pressure, the pressure was on me being the new guy and replacing such a high caliber player who I have nothing but the utmost respect for in Horace Grant.
Right.
He's a guy that I really looked up to coming into the league when he was Chicago. I always thought he was a very productive player, guys like Rodman, things of that nature, and I always try to study to see, where they were. But when you talk about the Thunder and, what Indiana's getting ready to do, both of these teams are considered, well, they may say Indiana's a big market, but they're not on TV every night like some of the bigger teams. So some could argue it's a small market. So you got two of these teams potentially now getting ready to win their first championship. So this is something where the stakes are even higher. Somebody's going to go home, with an L.
Yeah.
And then somebody's going to be cemented in history, forever. And this is, as a basketball fan, we all should be excited. I think now that there should be a little more parity around the league.
Right.
And I'm totally excited, as a basketball fan. I'm not sure where you are on this, but, two defensive teams now where the NBA has kind of been soft on defense for some years. And if you're a real basketball fan, and you don't have to be old school, but if you're just a purist, you want to see competitive, a little bit of drama, things of that nature, not just scoring and jacking up shots and saying, okay, it's just pace. No, there has to be some drama, some physicality, and that's what physicality does. And so shout out to the NBA for allowing at least experiment right now with the playoffs of allowing the physicality. And I think, they won a lot of old school fans back who love that organic style.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've absolutely loved it. To the individuals who are saying that, it's two small market teams and this isn't going to be good for the NBA in terms of ratings. It's like, I don't know if you watch basketball from a perspective in which, diehard fans are watching it. I think these have been two very fun teams. I think that they're going to have a very great series. I understand that name recognition in terms of cities isn't, something that's an LA or a New York or a Boston, but I do think that we are going to be in for some incredible basketball no matter how long this series goes. And with that, I did want to ask you, is there any team that you like more going into this NBA final series?
Wow, it's tough. Actually, I don't have a dog in this fight.
Right.
I'm proud of both of these teams because as somebody who's very interested in organic, basketball, I'm a basketball purist. I love both of these teams and how they're built, how they approach the game. You don't have, these over-top egotistical superstars. You got some grinded-out basketball. You're going to see some names of guys who you wouldn't typically see or hear about. You're going to hear about them with these particular teams because when you got teams like this, it can be anybody's night. Yes, Shea's going to be the star. He's the guy, and he's consistent. But, at any given night, the others can step up, with Oklahoma City as well as Indiana. And, obviously everybody's, from what I see, is pushing it towards OKC. But I'll be honest, I'm giving Indiana a chance.
Yes.
And I'm giving Indiana a chance. And who you got on the other side? Rick Carlisle.
Right.
He's a horse.
Right.
This guy is a strategist. The team has seemed to have adapted to his personality. He's got this team's mentality right where he wants it. They're hungry. And I think people are underestimating Halliburton because he's not a consistent scorer every night.
Right.
If you're a basketball purist, you can see what he does on and off the ball and how he sets up plays, how he plays. You can see the chess match. And when he gets those wide open threes, those things are set up 3 or 4 plays ahead of time.
Yes.
And so this is for the basketball purists. And unfortunately, you got a lot of these casual fans. And, you know, obviously the NBA is marketing to a younger generation now because of the technology. And so this is something that we just have to deal with. But shout out to the NBA. I'm one of those guys who definitely believe that this is going to be a series. This is for the basketball peers right here.
Absolutely. As we continue our conversation with a former top 10 pick as well as NBA champion with the LA Lakers, Samaki Walker, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So we continue talking about how this series is going to be for the basketball purists, but I've also seen that, you know, this is different for the NBA, a team that two teams that will be winning their first NBA championship. I mean, this is going to be the 7th year in a row that we've had a different NBA champion. You were a part of a team that ultimately became a dynasty, finishing off the three-peat in 2002 against the New Jersey Nets. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, do you like seeing as many different champions that we're seeing over the last few years, or do you kind of miss the dynasties that we've been able to see and that has really driven the NBA in recent years?
I think both are true. I think, and you can allow yourself to miss the dynasty. There's something about dominance. And in that era, that's how it was marketed. You had to beat the bully.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's nothing like a great storyline where you get the underdog beat the bully. Now, also, that does get boring every now and then as well. And now you want a little more, now that the league has gotten better, you know, because there's more players playing the sport, because the sport has grown, you know, tremendously, you've got a lot of good players early, and it's not just all isolated to a particular team. Same way in college and the Duke and the Blue Bloods. Now you're beginning to see it trickle, and the same thing happen in the NBA. You got guys who are in the G League who are able to come up to the NBA and fit right in, right?
Right.
So I can enjoy that. And as again, I always go back to the basketball purists, because you have to kind of have some type of understanding of this process to appreciate it as such. And I'm not sure that the casual fan can. They're interested in highlights, energy, and I get it. I respect that. I respect their casual fan.
Right.
But for us people who understand it and critique the game as such, we deserve to be able to watch it a certain way.
Now, want to get a couple of fun ones for you before we let you go, and thank you again, Mr. Walker, for giving us a couple moments. The NBA draft is going to be a couple of weeks away. I mean, you were a part of, in my opinion, the greatest NBA draft that there was in 1996. On top of that, you were a top 10 pick in the draft. With the draft picks that are coming in, what's one piece of advice that you would give those guys who are going to the draft, waiting there to hear their name called and eventually see their dream come true?
It's all about those workouts. I would think, you know, before you hear your name called, don't get comfortable. Right. You know, those workouts, you know, teams are scouting. And, yeah, you are going to have certain guys slotted, those top 2 or 3 guys.
Right.
But for majority of the guys, the workouts really matter. And what you do in those workouts, teams take note. Your stock can rise or it can drop.
Right.
And so you have an opportunity when you fly and rest your body, because it's a tedious process. You're going to be working out with this team, especially if you're not one of those high slotted guys. You're probably going to work out for a lot of teams. And so, you know, rest your body, rest your mind, and then you got to go for the grind.
Now, what do you remember most about your draft process? And I mean, draft night. I mean, you talk about the who's who in terms of name recognition. I mean, I think it gets no better than 1996. So just kind of for you, what do you remember about that whole process leading up to draft night and you being chosen with the 9th pick overall?
Oh, man, it was crazy. So when I first decided I was going to come out, I ended up moving to Jersey. Ted Fiore was a trainer at the time I was introduced to, and he had worked several guys out, you know, prior to me. And he was the guy I was supposed that was going to give me an opportunity. And that's kind of where I was leaning with that. He really helped me. I was really obviously more back to the basket, and he really worked me facing the basket and putting the ball on the floor, and was a quick learner. And so that really helped my draft stock, because I really did well in my workouts. You know, I shot the ball. Obviously, I didn't really shoot a lot, threes and things in the NBA, but in the workouts, I got a chance to show some versatility and some range, which helped my stock. And then after that, you know, I was there. I had actually had a place and was already cemented there. So I had a draft party. I remember having all the guys come through at the draft party. It was crazy. It was phenomenal. You know, Bubba Chuck showed up as Iverson for people who don't know.
Yeah.
You know, Canby, all the guys, Antoine Walker, Ray Allen. And, for a young guy, that just really boosted my ego to have all these guys come to show up.
Right.
Because, at the same time, these are guys you grew up comparing yourself to and appreciating, idolizing too. Rankings going there, and now you're watching each other. And so to be in one room at one time, kind of cemented things for me, just personally, if I must say. So yeah, that was it, man. And then obviously draft night, you go, you get that call, and you shake the commissioner's hand. And once you shake the commissioner's hand, that's it. That cements everything. It's like it's official. You walk across the stage, you shake his hand, and now you're an NBA ball player. And yeah, you got to sign the contract and all that. But for me, that was it. That was the emotional aspect of things when you get that one-on-one moment. Yeah, he shook everybody's hands backstage, but when you get a chance to walk across that stage, it's a little different. And so I'm greatly appreciative of that. Those are memories that will be cemented forever.
Finishing up our conversation with NBA champion Samaki Walker, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Before I let you go, I just wanted to ask, me being from LA, me being a diehard Lakers fan, watching you guys three-peat, do you have a Lakers story, that you could share with us? You were on the team with Shaq, Kobe, Phil Jackson. You guys had the tough series against the Kings. You guys had that also memorable Game 3 when Robert Horry hits that game-winning shot in the corner against the Portland Trail Blazers to open up the playoff run. Is there just a story you could share with us before we let you go about that 2002 squad?
Let's see, man. There was so many.
Yeah.
And I actually just they're doing a biography actually on Shaq, and just about a week ago, I did an interview with that as well, and it made me remind some of the funny stories because I asked the same question. Wow. There was so many. You understand? I was the new guy, so things it was so fast. Shaq was, I'll tell you this, Shaq was probably, it was interesting to see the contrast on the team between, obviously, Kobe and Shaq.
Right.
You had one guy who was extremely serious and one guy who was, obviously considered to be more in a joking, mentality. And so I remember one day, after practice, just a typical Shaq and how he does things and how he checks the temperature of the team. We practice and we go in one day and everybody's getting ready to get their hands in the huddle.
Okay.
Practice finishes up and, Phil Jackson does his little speech and he notices Shaq is not in the huddle. And as soon as he asks, "Where's Shaq?" Shaq runs out of the locker room. I'm not sure if you really want to know the story, but you shouldn't have asked me. But he runs out bucket naked.
No.
Bucket naked. Bucket naked.
No, he didn't, Samaki.
The media's out there, everybody.
Oh, no.
He does like a half lap, comes and put his hands.
No.
Act like he's getting ready to put his hands in the huddle. Everybody's like, oh.
No.
Like, no. Then he jokes and runs back into the locker room. And so, that's just like, how different this particular team. Obviously, I played with the Spurs. I played with Pat Riley, who's disciplinary and serious and things of that nature. But this team won a different way.
Yeah.
You had two extremists. One was, a jokester, and one was totally focused.
Right.
And to see that and to see both of those guys gel together, for me, having a year, 2 years to spend with the Lakers, it was an honor and a pleasure.
It was an honor and a pleasure to watch Samaki Walker during his time in LA. NBA champion, a part of the 2002 squad, and a top 10 pick in what I feel is the greatest draft of all time, the 1996 NBA draft. In my opinion, just the name recognition alone, Mr. Walker, I just think name recognition and the Hall of Famers that we saw, in that draft. I think, I mean, you can argue 84. You can also argue 2003. But, I mean, 1996, in my opinion, being born in 95, I just honestly believe that's probably one of the greatest drafts that we've seen in recent memory. But, Mr. Walker, I thank you so much for doing this and being a part of this program. And hopefully we can do this again sometime, man. I mean, I want to hear, like, all the Lakers stories, man, and just your career. Would definitely love to do this again whenever you have the time.
Anytime, my man. Hey, thanks for having me again, RJ.
Absolutely. There he goes. Samaki Walker, NBA champion. Samaki Walker. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. I absolutely enjoyed listening to a guy who has seen it all in the NBA and a part of, like I said, one of the greatest drafts we have ever seen. So when we come back, we will continue to talk about the NBA. We do have a new MVP. He's internationally born. He's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Actually, the last 7 MVPs have been international players. Is it time for the NBA to consider an international guy as the face of their league? We discuss next.
Connect with 1010XL.
On the line, with your friends. Now everyone's exchanging ideas.
Find 1010XL on your social channels.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Bari here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Bari Orthopedics today or visit bariorthopedics.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and here's your reminder to be proactive and get screened for early detection at Ackerman Cancer Center. Many cancer instances are largely preventable and treatable. So take steps now to minimize your risk factors at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coil Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security, those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes, nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coil. You can trust the folks at Coil. 904-356-4821 or visit CoilJacks.com, COYLE Jacks.com.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home this week at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Tomorrow is Canines and Crustaceans Dog Day presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, followed by Wear It Home Wednesday t-shirt giveaway. Then it's Pride Night presented by VyStar and River City Pride on Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Don't miss fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Plumbing problems? AC not blowing? Septic tank doing whatever septic tanks do? Don't call 3 different companies and play contractor roulette. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We handle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning all under one roof. That's one call, one company, and one bill that won't give you a heart attack. For fast, reliable, and slightly ducky service, call 904-862-6769 or waddle over to duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the duck.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway for all your outdoor living needs. Let them show you how a durable paver driveway can enhance your home. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Back to the action on Open Gym on 1010XL.
Appreciate Samaki Walker giving us a couple moments of his time. talking about the NBA Finals, also his experience in the NBA Finals as he was a part of the three-peat Lakers. Also gave a very graphic story about one Shaquille O'Neal trying to break the huddle. No clothes on with the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll be talking about the NBA on TNT to close out our program. But before we get to our final segment, I did want to talk about just the fact that this is our 7th international MVP that we've had in the NBA. Now, there's a saying that we always talk about, and it's things change, right? I think that song was sung on a little show called Sesame Street. As a matter of fact, this program is brought to you by the letter R. We see change in our lives all the time, right? Partners change, jobs change, kids get older, hair turns gray, seasons change. It's just a part of life. It's natural nature. But as much as the NBA has been looked at as a cyclical league, they're an ever-changing one. I think they've changed in every way except for one stance, that they are not ready yet to say that an international player can be their face of the league. But I do believe that it now needs to be a conversation due to the fact that you now have an individual who was internationally born as your MVP. Giannis was back-to-back. Jokic was back-to-back, followed by Embiid, Jokic again, and now we've seen Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And honestly, I do not know if there's enough evidence to the contrary that an American-born player for at least the next 2 to 3 years is going to be the MVP of our league, let alone the face of our league. Honestly, I think before it's all said and done, if Luka figures this thing out here in Los Angeles in the next 2 years, probably wins an MVP. Jokic and Shai, as long as they're Jokic and Shai, are always going to be in the conversation. They're going to be pulling and pushing back and forth. Jason Tatum, in my opinion, and Paolo Banchero are honestly the two American-born guys that I could see fighting for the MVP. But doesn't it feel to you that that list is starting to get shorter and shorter and shorter in terms of American guys who can be the face of your league? This is why I think a guy like Cooper Flagg is so important to the NBA. Because I think they're holding out hope that this guy can be that face. Because if you look at the rundown of individuals, and I wrote them down, it seems that they were riding a wave. As quickly as they rode it, they dropped off. Remember Ja Morant? He had this Allen Iverson death grip on the NBA, where I feel the league was going to be at a standstill where they had to make a decision. Kids want to dress like this guy. They want to do his celebrations. And at the time, he was delivering on the court for the Memphis Grizzlies. Can we ignore this phenomenon that's going on with one Ja Morant who went to a mid-major? Now he's gotten in trouble. Injuries are now starting to seem to be a problem. The NBA is now, I won't say for the most part, but they can take a couple of steps back on one Ja Morant. Zion Williamson was as close to a sure thing as the NBA thought to being the face of the league. LeBron, we got it. Zion Williamson's going to be our face. Heck, Stephon Marbury, I remember this when Zion Williamson was going to the NBA draft. He was going to come back out and make a new brand of Starberries and have Zion Williamson give stock options and the whole entire nine. He was announcing this on his Instagram page. And Zion has shown spurts, and to this day, I do believe he still has the potential to be a very solid player in the NBA, a multiple-time All-Star. But now, he's apparently going to trial for some off-the-court issues. He spent a lot of time enjoying chips, cookies, and cakes than shooting his free throws. That's probably where the NBA most recently, I feel, probably hurt the most in terms of an American-born guy being the face of the league. The man that everybody wants is Anthony Edwards. But if you remember, he said he doesn't want to be the face. He said that's why you have Wemby. So this isn't about Kendrick Perkins, whether or not you're a family man to be the face of the league. I just think there are many guys, and in this case, American-born players, who don't want to be the face of the league, except for that of maybe Jason Tatum. I think there are some guys in the NBA that say, we won at the game of life. I have generational wealth. I'm able to do whatever I want. Kids wear my jerseys. I have endorsement deals up to wazoo. Why do I need to be the face of the NBA and have that pressure on me? Grant Hill thought it was too early for him to be the face of the NBA. Now, he did say that he took the checks from Sprite and Fila, but he thought it was unfair when Jordan left that they were going to birth this guy as the new face of the league. As we talked about at the top, when it came to Trevor Lawrence, Vince Carter had the potential, but it felt like it almost hinged upon him being the next Mike. Wasn't able to become that, but listen, he had a whole entire country behind him. Ends up having a Hall of Fame career. Kobe Bryant held the crown. I think he wanted to be the face of the league because he saw Jordan was that. LeBron James, I thought this was funny that he said he didn't ask to be the face of the league. I think he understood that's where the league was going with him. I mean, you come into the league calling yourself the chosen one and King James and wanting to be known as arguably the greatest player of all time. I don't know if there's too many guys, in my opinion, that want to be in the argument of greatest ever and not be the face of the league. This all stems back to me, in my opinion, of the 1992 Olympics. This was to send a message to the rest of the world. The best players in the best league right here in the good old US of A. But over time, the NBA adopted the play style of the European League, the schematics. We'll even let the talent come here to the NBA. But where we'll stop is saying that an international player is the face of our league. I do believe now that has to change. And for some reason, I feel that there are international guys that want to wear that badge of face of the league. And as an American-born guy, and as probably American-born fans that are listening to this program who have been NBA fans all their life or have casually watched the NBA all their life, should we hang our heads to that? That a Wemby or a Shea or a Jokic could possibly be the face of the league? Now, I don't think so entirely. Just due to the fact that the NBA has changed so much, you had to think that this was going to be the trajectory in which we were going to go. But I do believe that it does make for a bigger conversation, in my opinion. And one that we will have at a later date when it comes to just American-born players not being the talent in which we want them to be in terms of the international talent that we are seeing now. Or we can even continue this conversation right now via the text line 641-1010, or as always on our digital studios. The 403 asks, WNBA talk next or what? No. However, should inside the NBA, should they have just gone out on top instead of trying this idea with ESPN? Let's discuss next on Open Gym.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, Who's MIA? Who's coming back from injury? Dr. George Barry on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
This is Hayes Carline, and I'm so proud of my guy, Leon Searcy.
Man, I used to want to eat all the time, but just 1 month on Physician Guided Weight Loss, and I've already dropped 15 pounds.
And I lost 25. No side effects, just results.
The GLP, one curbs my cravings and keeps me feeling full. It's been easier than I expected, and I feel amazing.
Their staff is great, and best of all, no surprise costs.
If you're ready to bring sexy back this summer, visit pgweightloss.com.
Physician-guided weight loss, safe, doctor supervised.
And it works.
Summer in Jacksonville is coming in hot. Lauren Brooks here. Beat the heat with Turbo Tint. Their window tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays and keeps your ride cool and comfortable. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
The great thing about live sports, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, how did he pull that off?
Get the most live play-by-play on 1010XL.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Coen floral arrangement. Max Fink here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at CoenFlowers.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y summer camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Oh, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Oh, wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys Locksmith Service.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Certainly a critical year for a lot of teams and a lot of players across a lot of sports. We talked about Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, but Trevor Lawrence, this is going to be a critical year for him. And I want to know from you, 641-1010, before we get out of here, just the numbers and what you want to see from Trevor Lawrence. Whether you're on the fringe, whether you are a huge defender of Trevor Lawrence, or you're saying, listen, I'm off the deep end. I don't believe in him anymore until he gets X amount of numbers this coming season. Had one individual say, listen, if we can get him back to where he was in year 2, which was a 4,113 passing yard quarterback, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions with a completion percentage of 66%. Maybe we can start believing again. I just wanted to talk about the 909, his text real quick. Does every talking head in Jax collectively discount the Texans? I spent time in Houston for a year. I do not. However, that offensive line, man. Whew. If you think the answer is basically just airlifting a whole new offensive line and that's what's going to be the fix for the Houston Texans, I don't know. I do think this is going to be a team, though, that is going to be the difference between Jacksonville winning the division and losing it. Because I do agree with his text. 4-2 in the division likely wins it. I think they split with the Texans. But I do believe that you can pull off a season sweep of the other two teams. If you're not asleep, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and say, we'll have a bad week. I think you face the Colts twice before the season ends, like that final half of the season, you face them twice. I think you're also facing the Titans twice. Winnable games. That schedule is winnable to me. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Now, what's going to be critical also when we talk about just the world of basketball before we get out of here, TNT had their final broadcast. I was watching it here on TV during the commercial break. I mean, very heartfelt. Makes you shed a tear because the moments that we had on TNT, they're all now going to be coming to an end when it comes to Inside the NBA being on TNT. Craig Sager, Kevin Harlan, Marv Albert. We're going to remember a lot of those funny moments for a lifetime. I mean, I'm seeing on Twitter all the time that there's a post going around where they're saying, give us your favorite TNT moment of all time. But now Inside the NBA is going to be moving to ESPN. And I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of ESPN's halftime. It doesn't really move me. I could be doing something else for 15 minutes. But if ESPN is controlling this newish installment of Inside the NBA, is it going to be the same as we're hoping for it to be? Bill Simmons doesn't think so.
I think ESPN's going to the show up. I don't care if I get aggregated.
Zag. I didn't understand.
I think they're going to the show up. I don't think they unless they completely change how they do commercials, the show is going to be different and people are going to be pissed and Barkley and those guys are going to be pissed. And I think it's going to go badly. The only way it doesn't go badly is if they do the commercials and they give them the lengthy segments that you need to have that show work. They're going to have to change how they do it. They just paid so much for the NBA that if they don't do that and they do these same short, terrible segments that you're about to see in the finals, where it's like a 1.5 minute halftime and it's like a 20-minute pregame, if they do that, they're going to the show up and everybody's going to be mad. If they mess with any piece of this, everyone's going to be mad.
Right.
And that's the part that I can't wait to watch. Like, even like little insignificant stuff, if we feel like it's different anyway, people would be mad.
So it seems as quickly as Bill Simmons said that, which was last night, Front Office Sports comes out with a tweet saying that Inside the NBA will lead ESPN's NBA pregame and halftime programming, and there will be an extensive post-game show. That's what sources are telling Front Office Sports. But I don't know how they're going to do this. Because we're giving you Shaq, Kenny, EJ, and Charles. But is it going to have the same feel? That's going to be the big question. And if it is just going to be, we're going to allow TNT just to be TNT, or should I say Inside the NBA, be Inside the NBA? Are we going to, if it can't be that to start, and there are guys who are mad, do you do something like go to Amazon? Or if you stay with ESPN, would a Manning cast type of a program work? for the inside crew. Do maybe one game on a Friday or one game on a Monday, not do both games, but one game on a Friday or Monday, and then have them do a post-game show. But even with me having that idea, Charles Barkley was on with Dan Patrick, and he says that it doesn't seem like ESPN honestly knows what they're going to do when it comes to that of inside the NBA.
But does the show look like the show? It's inside the NBA, but it's on ESPN. Is that how you're positioning this?
Dan, we don't even know.
Okay, all right.
That's one of the reasons I was waiting. Like, I don't know what we're doing. And then TNT is trying to do something stupid behind the scenes. We taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. Because we're not going to be on ESPN as much as people think.
Wait, what do you mean you taped a pilot?
Because we're only probably going to be working for ESPN like half the time to 1/3 of the time. So I think TNT wants to do something, and we taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest ever.
Okay, so you're still going to do a show, an NBA show on TNT, and you're going to do a show on ESPN?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But they're trying to do something stupid at TNT, which is, number one, it's a stupid idea for a couple reasons. Number one, we won't have basketball highlights, but also we're probably going to be going up against the NBA game.
So this is what I ask again: is this how we want to see the guys go out? Is this how we want to see them finish? As opposed to what we saw at the conclusion of the Pacers-Knicks series when they signed off for the final time on TNT, being inside the NBA. The NBA on NBC was gone for a long time. We loved the theme song. I've seen enough of Kevin Hart dancing to the theme song. But now it's going to make a return. And Michael Jordan's going to be a special contributor to it all, which I'm going to love to see, because I don't think any of us have heard publicly what he's going to be there to do, at least to my knowledge. If somebody knows, please educate me. Although I do think it would be hilarious if they were to have like a gambling segment, the over-unders, and he's the person that's giving you the numbers. It would be hilarious to me. But I'm sure if done right, when we talk about places like the NBA on NBC, we'll fall in love with it again. It was gone. We asked for it back, but we fell in love with new places such as TNT. When ABC and ESPN had it right with the right crew, we fell in love with that. We fall in love with Mike Breen. Fell in love with Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy, but two of those three guys are now gone. Amazon TV is now going to be there. Kevin Harlan's going to be a part of that broadcasting crew. I'm sure we'll open our arms to that. At least we should. But this new installment of Inside the NBA, honestly, I don't know if this is going to work. And as much as I'm saying open our minds and open our ears and open our hearts to NBC and Amazon and take your mind off of what NBC once was, I think we're going to be asking the same thing of Inside the NBA, and for me, I'm just not a huge fan of that. JJ, you watch, the NBA as much as I do. Do you think this works, or are we going to be here, in October, November, December, and you and I are going to be in the hallway or going to be switching seats and saying, you know what, they should have just left it where it was?
I am confused about, I don't even think they know what's going to happen.
Right.
So they're going to have a show on at night on TNT that's competing with the NBA, and then they're also going to do, he said half the time or 1/3 of the time we're working with ESPN. Like, what do you mean? So You guys aren't going to be the main halftime show and post-game show? And I'm assuming they're not going to be able to, because, people say Inside the NBA, but they don't really mean Inside the NBA. Yes. They mean the halftime show and the pregame show, because no one actually stays up for Inside the NBA on the East Coast.
On the East Coast.
It's after the West Coast game.
Right.
It goes to like 2 a.m. So a lot of media types and people talk about how much they love Inside the NBA. I question whether they even actually watched that show. I think they're just talking about the halftime show. And ESPN, like Bill Simmons said, they have so many commercial breaks during the halftime show that it's impossible to get any sort of opinion from these guys. It's basically like, hey, let's show stats.
15 seconds, quick.
Yeah, and then Stephen A says something, and we have to go to break.
Gotta go to break.
And there's like 5 people at the table. It's going to be exactly the same. ESPN's not going to stop, getting paid by sponsors and ads so they can get a funny take from Shaq. I think it's going to be a disaster, and I think it lasts probably like one season before the guys probably quit.
And it looks like
unless
Charles
the
Barkley.
money's like way too good to give up and they're under contract. I don't know the specifics of that, but yeah, ESPN's pretty much screwed up every single studio show in my life since PTI. Look what they did to Around the Horn. It's complete trash.
Completely
no one
gone.
watched it, and then now it's gone.
Right.
It's College Game Day is not as good as it was. I can't think of like any studio show that's great. NFL Live. No, I don't watch any of them. No. I watch them for the games.
Right.
I think they'll probably screw this one up as well. But it's ESPN. They don't care.
They're prone. And that's something that I thought too. I don't know if ESPN honestly cares.
Why would they even pay for it? Why would they even try to bring the show, I guess, to appease fans?
That was my only opinion. I thought it was going to be just appeasing the fans. The fans really didn't want to see it go, but I don't think ESPN really has a clear vision for this.
No way. Obviously not, from what we just heard from Charles. And how do they not have a non-compete? Like, if ESPN is taking over the show, how are you allowing Chuck and Shaq and Kenny to still have a show on TNT? And he said it's competing with the NBA games.
Right. I think the idea was...
Like, is anybody signed to a contract right now? Like,
so I think they're still signed.
Just speculation about the ESPN deal? Is that even a thing?
I think they're still signed to TNT. I think what Barkley was trying to allude to was TNT's trying to say, with as much money as we're paying you guys, we should have you guys do something. But however, you have 3.
So they're still under contract with TNT?
I think that's the contract that's there. They're just buying the show. They're not buying the contracts to Kenny, EJ, Shaq, and Charles. So the thing is, TNT wanted to do some kind of, if we're not going to have the NBA, let's try to do some sort of kind of a Sports Center-like show, do it one day a week.
With no highlights.
And just no NBA highlights. And I don't know how that works for 3 NBA guys. That's what I'm saying. Do you try to do a Manning cast type of a thing? You can't see the game, but maybe
they'll be like, watch TNT on your phone while you
watch the game and you
and
listen.
Honestly, that's impossible because of everyone streaming now, and you can't match it up with, like, when the actual live play is happening. That would be annoying
not gonna
too. Happen.
Yeah, maybe TNT just should have went out on top after this series was over. I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting to see. I'm going to give it a chance, but I am not holding out hope that this stays around for a long time. And it seems to me that Barkley's saying, if it doesn't work, I'm gone.
Yeah, they don't seem motivated either.
No. I'm
They've been doing this for so long. They made so much money. Like, honestly, what's the motivation to like bust their ass and make it a great show for ESPN, a network who they've talked nothing but crap about for the last 10 plus years?
Especially if ESPN's going to have guys like Charles Barkley do the car wash. Oh, you got to be on First Take, and then you got to be on Sports Center, and then you got to. And he'll say, "Screw you, I'm going home." And with that, we have to go home. Thank you guys for giving us a couple moments of your time here in the 904 as we talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NBA. Special thank you to Samaki Walker. So for JJ LaSilva, I'm RJ Saunders. We will talk to you down the road.